This podcast is brought to you by Enlightening Learners Academic Coaching and Tutoring Services. In this presentation, we're going to learn how to use the quadratic formula. Some guided questions that you'll need to know. Demonstrate the song used to help remind you of the formula. How to use the equation to solve. And finally, what do you do when the square root does not work out evenly? So just a kind of a brief review. We've learned to do the quadratic by using the diamond method, which is essentially a times c and your b value here, and to complete the diamond it's the combination that gets you ac here and it gets you an additive of b in these two. We've also learned to complete the square, which is where you make a perfect square to both equations and then solve for your two unknowns. Now we're going to learn the quadratic formula. So there's a real easy way to remember the quadratic formula. It's sung to Pop Goes the Weasel. So excuse my singing, but here we go. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Again, x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Alright, so that's the easy way to do it. Just remember the Pop Goes the Weasel. So let's take these. So we've got x squared minus 4x plus 3. We could use the diamond, we could also use completing the square, but we can also use the formula. So just remember x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And now what we're going to do is we're going to plug in our values that we know. This is the opposite of b, so in this case my b is a negative 4. So the opposite of a negative 4 is going to be a positive 4. Positive 4 plus or minus the square root. B squared is negative 4 squared minus 4 times my value of a is 1 and my value of c is 3 all over 2 times my value of a is 1. So 4 plus or minus square root of 16 minus 4 times 3 is 12 times 1 is 12, so minus 12 all over 2. Alright, it should be all over 2. Square root of 16 minus 12 is 4. 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 over 2a. And square root of 4 is 2. So it's going to be 4 plus 2 divided by 2 and 4 minus 2 divided by 2. So 4 plus 2 is 3. 3 divided by 2, 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that's one of my values. And now I'm going to take a negative 2. And 4 minus 2 is a 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So those are my two values. Alright, so we'll try it again with a more difficult problem. I'm going to substitute my values. X equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 4 times, sorry about that, I forgot my b squared. Three squared, the opposite of b, so b squared minus 4 times a negative 2 times a negative 5 all over 2 times a negative 2. So now I simplify it a little further. Negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 9. Negative 4 times a negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times a negative 5, negative 4 times a negative 2 is a positive 8. 8 times a negative 5 is a negative 40. All over 2 times a negative 2 is a negative 4. Negative 3 plus or minus the square root of, it's going to be a negative 31 all over negative 4. Now, I can't simplify that anymore because 31 isn't a perfect square. Okay, I could do this and get a decimal, but there's no sense to doing it. And I can just leave my answers in this format. And if you wanted to finish this even further, you would do a negative 3 plus the square root of a negative 31 divided by a negative 4, and a negative 3 plus the square root of a negative 31 all over negative 4. Those would be the two ways to get it.